IGCSE Physics, Paper Code 0625, Paper 2 Variant 1, May-June 2020. Today we will solve question number 31 to question number 40. Question number 31. In the circuit shown, A1 and A2 are ammeters. Switch S is closed. Which row is correct? Here we have three columns. In the first column, it is given the resistance of the whole circuit. Second column, reading of A1. Third column, reading of A2. In this circuit, A1 and A2 are 2 ammeters. This S is a switch, it is open. Here we have two resistances. When we will close this switch, these two resistances will be connected in parallel. When two or more than two resistances connected in parallel, then the total resistance or combined resistance is decreased. So here the total resistance or the combined resistance of the circuit will be decreased because these two resistances are connected in parallel. Now what about the current? According to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. Keeping the voltage constant, with the decrease in resistance, the current will be increased. Since the current will be increased, so here the ammeter reading A1 and A2 will be increased. So what is the conclusion here? Since the resistances are connected in parallel, so the total resistance or the combined resistance will be decreased, and because of the decrease in resistance, the current in the circuit will be increased. Now the resistance of the whole circuit decreases is given in option A and B, so possible options are A and B. For the reading of A1 and reading of A2, it is given in the option B that it increases. So our correct option B. In A, for the reading of A1, it is given stays the same. It will not stays the same. It will be increased. So option A is incorrect. Correct option B, where it is given the resistance of the whole circuit decreases, reading of A1 increases, reading of A2 increases. Question number 32. Which symbol represents an OR gate? In the option A, the symbol given is for OR gate. This B, it is for NOR gate. This C is for AND gate. This D for NAND gate. So our correct option A. Question number 33. A digital circuit consists of two logic gates. When the input to the circuit is 1 and 1, the output is 0. Here we have two inputs. Both the inputs are 1 and output is 0. Which combination of logic gates gives the result? In option A, here we have a NAND gate, and the inputs for this NAND gate is 1 and 1. So the output will be 0. Now after the NAND gate, we have kept an inverter. So for the inverter, input is 0. So output of the inverter will be 1. Since here output is 1 and we need an output 0, so this option A is incorrect. In option B, we have two inputs, both are 1 and 1. Now here we have kept an inverter, so the output of the inverter will be 0. After the inverter, we have kept here an OR gate. For this OR gate, one signal is 0 and second signal is 1. Now in OR gate, if one signal is high, then output is high. Since here one signal is 1 means it is high, so output will also be high, it will be 1. And again we need an output 0, here we get output 1, so this one is incorrect. In option C, we have an AND gate. In this AND gate, two inputs, both are 1. In an AND gate, if both the inputs are 1, then output will also be 1. Now after the AND gate, we have kept an inverter. So for inverter, input is 1 and output will be negation of 1 means 0. So here for the inputs, it is 1 and 1. For the output, it is 0. It is our required condition that both inputs are 1 and output is 0. So here our correct option is option C. What is given in the option D? Here we have two inputs, both are 1. Now again here we have kept an inverter. So here for the inverter the output value will be 0. Now after the inverter we have kept a NAND gate. For the NAND gate we have one signal 0 and second signal is 1. Now for a while let us suppose here it is not a NAND gate, it is an AND gate. If it is an AND gate, what will be the output? For an AND gate, if both the inputs are high, then we will get output high. If one of the input is low, means it is 0, then the output will also be 0. So if here it is an AND gate, then the output will be 0. Now here it is not an AND gate, it is NAND gate. NAND gate means it is negation of AND gate. So here we will not get the signal 0, we will get the signal 1. So again here the output value is 1 and the condition that is asked that the output signal should be 0. So this option is also incorrect. Correct option, option C. Question number 34. The diagram shows a wire between the poles of a magnet. The wire is perpendicular to the page. The wire is moved and a current is induced upwards out of the paper. In which direction is the wire moved? Here it is given the wire is moving in a magnetic field. When a wire is moving in a magnetic field, we have to take help of Fleming's right hand rule. Now what is Fleming's right hand rule? Fleming's right hand rule says that first finger represents direction of magnetic field. This second finger represents direction of electrical current and direction of thumb represents the direction of force on the current carrying conductor. Now here current is out of the paper. Magnetic lines of force start from North Pole and it moves toward the South Pole. So lines of force in this condition is in downward direction. So by taking the help of Fleming's right hand rule, we can easily find the direction of the resultant force. Resultant force will be from right to left. Now right to left is given in option B. So correct option is option B. Question number 35. A 100% efficient transformer converts a 240 volt input voltage to a 12 volt output voltage. The output power of the transformer can be a maximum of 20 watts. The output is connected to 2.3 ampere bulbs in parallel. One of the bulb fails. How does the current in the primary coil change? In the topic of transformer, we have studied that power on the primary side is equal to power on the secondary side. Or we can say input power is equal to output power. Now power is given as product of voltage and current. So input power will be equal to the product of input voltage and input current, and output power will be equal to product of output voltage and output current. Now it is asked what is the current in the primary coil change. Means here we have to find out the input current or we have to find out the current on the primary side. Now what is the value of voltage on the primary side? Value of voltage on the primary side, it is given 240 volt. So for input power we can say voltage is 240 and the input current we have to find out. For the output power, what is the output voltage? Output voltage is given here 12 volt. So output voltage will be 12 volt. What about the output current? Here it is given that output is connected to 2.3 ampere bulbs in parallel. One of the bulb fails. Since one of the bulb fails, so here we have only one bulb and that bulb is drawing a current of 0.3 ampere. So value of output current is 0.3 ampere. So output current 0.3 ampere. Now by solving this one, we will get the answer 0.015 ampere, that is given in option B. So correct option, option B. Question number 36. Cables transmit electrical power from the output of the transformer at a power station to the input of the transformer at a substation. The power at the output of the transformer at the power station is 400 million watt. Which situation delivers the most power to the input of the transformer at the substation? Power loss is given as product of I square R, where this I is for current and R for resistance. Now here if we have to decrease the power loss, what we have to do? We have to decrease the amount of current and we have to decrease the resistance. Now first we check how we can reduce the current. Power is also given as product of voltage and current. So here if we have to decrease the value of current, what we should do? We have to increase the voltage. So here to reduce the power loss, we have to transmit electrical power at a high voltage. Now second thing that we should reduce, it is resistance. Now resistance is given as rho L over A, where rho for resistivity, L for length of the conductor and A is cross-sectional area of the conductor. Now if we have to reduce the resistance, then what we should do? We should increase the cross-sectional area of the cable. If we increase the cross-sectional area of the cable, resistance will be decreased, and with the decrease in resistance, power loss will be decreased. So here what we should do? We have to transmit the power at high voltage and we have to increase the cross-sectional area of the cable. Now we check the options. For the potential difference in option A and B, it is given 200 kilovolt. In C and D, it is given 400 kilovolt. Since in C and D, voltage is more and we require high voltage to transmit the power to reduce the power losses, so here our possible options are C and D. Second thing, to decrease the resistance, we have to increase the cross-sectional area of the cable. Here in the second column, diameter of the cable is given. With the increase in diameter, cross-sectional area increases, and with the decrease in diameter, cross-sectional area decreases. So in other words, we can say to decrease the power losses or to decrease the resistance, we should increase the diameter of the cable. So here we have to use large diameter of the cable and we have to transmit the power at high voltage. So here our correct option is option C. Question number 37. Uranium-235 is a radioactive isotope. It undergoes a chain of decays and eventually forms the stable isotope Lead-207. These two isotopes are represented as shown. Uranium is decayed and it is converted to lead. During this chain of decay, how many protons and how many neutrons are lost from a single nucleus of uranium-235 to form a single nucleus of Lead-207? For uranium, proton number is given 92 and nucleon number is given 235. What is proton number? Proton number is number of protons in an atom and nucleon number means sum of proton and neutron. So here in uranium, number of protons is 92 and in lead, number of protons is 82. Now what is the difference in number of protons? It is 92 minus 82, it is 10. So the difference of proton in between uranium and lead is 10. Now for the difference of proton, 10 is given in option A and B, so possible options are A and B. Now what about number of neutrons? It is nucleon number. So how many neutrons are there in uranium atom? The number of neutrons in uranium atom will be 235 minus 92, it is 143. We have to subtract proton number from the nucleon number to get the number of neutrons. So in uranium, number of neutrons are 143 and number of neutrons in lead is 125. Now what is the difference of number of neutrons in uranium and lead? we have to subtract 125 from 143. When we will subtract 125 from 143, we will get 18. So the difference of neutron is 18 and difference of proton is 10. So here our correct option A. For protons, difference is 10. For neutrons, difference is 18. Question number 38. A radioactive material has a half-life of 20 days. A sample of the material contains 8 into 10 power 10 atoms. How many atomic nuclei have decayed after 60 days? Half-life is given 20 days. Means after 20 days, it will become half of 8 into 10 power 10. So in the beginning, we have 8 into 10 power 10. Half-life is 20 days. So after 20 days, number of atoms will be 4 into 10 power 10. Now after 40 days, how many atoms we will have? We will have 2 into 10 power 10. Now after 60 days, again half of this 2 into 10 power 10, it will be 1 into 10 power 10. So after 60 days, number of atoms will be 1 into 10 power 10. In the start, how many atoms? 8 into 10 power 10. Now how many atoms after 60 days? It is 1 into 10 power 10. So what is the difference? So how many atomic nuclei has decayed? We have to subtract 1 into 10 power 10 from 8 into 10 power 10. We will get an answer 7 into 10 power 10. Now 7 into 10 power 10 is given in option D. So correct option D. Question number 39. A thin sheet of paper is placed between a radioactive source and a radiation detector. The count rate falls to a very low reading. From this result, which type of radiation is the source emitting? Here we have a source. It is a detector. In between the radioactive source and the detector, we have kept a piece of paper. And because of the piece of paper, most of the radiations are stopped. Now during radioactivity, 3 types of radiations are emitted out. These rays are alpha, beta and gamma. Now out of alpha, beta and gamma, alpha radiations can be stopped just by a piece of paper, whereas beta particles and gamma rays are passed through a sheet of paper. Since here the count rate falls to a very low reading, means almost all the rays are stopped. So here the rays emitting out from the source is alpha rays or alpha particles. Now alpha particles is given in option A. So here correct option is option A. Question number 40. Alpha particles, beta particles and gamma rays are emitted by radioactive nuclei when they decay. Which emissions can be deflected by an electric field? Alpha, beta and gamma. These are the 3 types of radiations that are emitted out by a natural radioactive substance. Now out of alpha, beta and gamma, alpha particle have positive charge, beta particle have negative charge, whereas gamma particles have no charge. They are just electromagnetic radiations without any charge and without any mass. Since alpha particles have positive charge, so it will be deflected towards the negatively charged electrode. Beta particle have negative charge, so it will be deflected toward the positively charged electrode. So in electric field, alpha particles and beta particles will be deflected. Now alpha particles and beta particles only is given in option A. So here correct option A. Okay, now we have completed this paper 2 variant 1 May June 20. Thank you very much.